Hello, everybody, and welcome to English Grammar with Ameya sir. And we are back to the 10th standard now, and we are going to start with the unit 1.2. Before we go any further, let me wish everyone a happy International Chess Day. You all know that I am into chess as well, and so I'm really happy this day, that is 20th July, and it's 2020 as well. A lot of 20s there. So it's celebrated as the International Chess Day. And being a chess coach, it's an important day for me. And thanks to all the wishes that I've received from my students and my wishes to you as well. The topic at hand then for today is the thief's story. This is written by Ruskin Bond, and it is again one of those lessons which can easily be enjoyed by anybody who wants to listen to some good English story. This is the unit 1.2. This is SSC board 10th standard. Before we actually dive into the story, let us quickly see what you can expect from this video. We are going to study the common errors that we were talking about in our last video, and that is the one part I think that we could not complete last time. So we are going to deal with that, and we will definitely go through one clipping. I told you last time that students have sent me some audio clippings of their recording of the Vikram Vetal story. I'll share one such clipping with you, not the entire story, but at least the first minute or two, so that I give you an idea of how much efforts the students also put in. Overall, it's going to be an exciting session. Enjoy the story even if you're not a 10th standard student. Let's get started. So this is unit 1.2. As I said, this is Ruskin Bond, a very famous writer indeed. And let me bring myself into the frame. Now you can see me in the bottom left hand corner. Let's get straight away into the story. Thief story. Sounds interesting, is it not? The thief story. So what is this about? But before the story, as usual, let's learn more about Ruskin Bond. So Ruskin Bond, 1934, and at the moment he is what, 86 years? Yeah, must be 86 years. I think his birthday falls in the month of May, isn't it? I guess, guys, this can be your assignment. I didn't check out the exact date, but I think it falls in May, and that means that his birthday for the year is over. So I can say with some assurance that he's about 86 now. So Ruskin Bond is an Indian author of British descent. Remember, the pronunciation here is descent. Guys, there is a very, very clear distinction. Descent and descent. Again, descent and descent. So the British descent, not British descent. Difference. So he is the Anglo-Indian writer. He's very famous indeed. And he lives with his adopted family in Missouri. And the important thing here is that he is so successful. He is very, very famous because he was honored with the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992 for his work Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra. Also, he has been awarded with the Padma Shri in 1999 and the Padma Bhushan in 2014. Guys, what an honor. This is simply incredible. Okay, I want you to look at the medals, the Padma Shri and the Padma Bhushan, and I will also tell you about the Padma Vibhushan. Those are the top honors you can get as a citizen of India. So that's why it's important. Look at the medal. The medals are very interesting in the sense that if you look here, yeah, the ribbon, it's a pink ribbon, and you can see that there is this white stripe here and here. That's typical of Padma Shri. That's how Padma Shri ribbon is. Now look at the Padma Bhushan. There is a single white strip and the pink ribbon remains the same. And if you talk about the Padma Vibhushan, so there's Padma Shri, then there is Padma Bhushan, and then it's Padma Vibhushan. So if you're talking about Padma Vibhushan, then you have only the pink strip, pink ribbon, that is. There's no white strip at all there. That's how it is. Subtle but a very nice thing. Of course, the medal also differs, but the ribbon also shows what award it is. You can clearly see that he's a very, very talented writer indeed, and very renowned. And he deserves it, because you'll find it in the lesson. He writes really incredibly well. What's next, guys? I don't think I need to give you any time at all for making note of the Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan. So let us straight away get into this discussion. I'll start reading it. As usual, when I read the story, give me your 100%. Yeah, you know that. 100% undivided attention. I was still a thief when I met Anil, and though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. By the way, who is this I here? The story is about a boy of 15 years, about 15 years of age, and he is without his parents, so there's nobody to really look after him. So he has to, he spends his time, he is a thief. He has to lead that kind of life. So he, gets money that way, and he makes his own existence. He provides for himself that way. So when you get the pronoun I in the story, that's the thief. That's the 15-year-old boy. And he is going to meet the protagonist, the central character, Anil here. Anil is a man of 25. He is also not that rich. In fact, his income is very irregular. He does earn, but it's a very irregular income. So it's a story when he meets Anil and something happens. His life changes. That's what we are going to study here. Incredibly interesting indeed. Okay. And what do you mean by experienced hand? What did you have here, guys? I was an experienced and fairly successful hand, which means very experienced. Very experienced. Anil was watching a wrestling match. You can see here. He was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow. And he looked easygoing, kind, and simple. So this is Anil's description. Anil was a tall guy. He was lean. That means he wasn't obese at all. He was easygoing. He was kind. He was simple. And simple enough, rather, for my purpose. That means that the 15-year-old boy must have thought that he is going to be, Anil is going to be my next target, because he seems to be a simple going man. Must be easy to get money out of him. I can maybe emotionally try him, try to get money from him. So he is going to be my next target. And they are at a wrestling match. Anil was watching a wrestling match. Have you ever watched a wrestling match? Let me know. So what are the words here? Now let's complete this. I hadn't had much luck of late. Much luck of late. That means he has not been successful in the recent past, and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. This is a typical modus operandi of a thief, is it not? Of someone who thugs people. You win their confidence and then you cheat and leave them. Of course, that is incredibly inexcusable. You win somebody's confidence, they put their faith in you. But here you have to understand the circumstances. The 15-year-old has nobody to look after him. I don't think he has his parents at all. He supports himself. So clearly you can see that there is lack of education. He has no other way of looking after himself than to do this. I'm sure that he actually regrets doing that, but it's out of no choice that he does it, probably. So let's look at the meanings. Let's look at what we can study from this. First, a grammar entry. Okay, Anil was watching a wrestling match. They'll ask you to identify the tense, and because it is was and ing, you have it as past continuous. Please pay attention. The spelling of continuous is C-O-N-T-I-N-U-O-U-S, continuous. And one more word that I wanted to highlight is this. This is a compound word, easygoing. There's a hyphen there. Remember Anil's description. It's about 25 years of age, tall, lean guy. He's easygoing, kind, very simple for, he thought, that is, the boy thought was very easy. And the name of the boy is also not mentioned at the start. There is a reason for that. The writer mentions Anil, but he does not mention the name of the boy. I think there's a reason here. The boy must be the one to change names every month. The moment he thugs somebody, he has to conceal his identity and take a new one. He cannot be the same. because people have seen him. So maybe he keeps changing his identity, making one story after the other in order to get money. That's why you don't have his name yet. We will probably have it in the next slide. Is there any other entry here? No, no entry. It was just this one entry. You can pause the video, but allow me kindly to go to the next one. Okay. And by the way, is there any other entry that I would like to highlight? Well, not much. Not much really. Let's continue. Again, undivided attention, please. You look a bit of a wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery helps in making friends. Guys, what is flattery? A false praise or insincere praise. This is a very common thing, is it not? If you want to get something out of somebody, want to persuade somebody, you always, your first thing is you resort to flattery. Imagine that you want something out of your parents. You want to seek permission to go for a picnic or a camp or out with your friends, whatever. You always begin, let's say you want to, you're talking with your mother, and then you always start like, oh, you're the world's greatest mother. You know that, is it not? You always start like that. You even do that to your friends if you want to get something. So flattery is insincere praise. It's just to please somebody in order to get something. So the word is flattery. It's not sincere. So clearly he is also saying, he told Anil that you're looking a wrestler yourself. Although we've seen the description, he's tall and he's lean. He's not some kind of a macho man. He is not a bodybuilder by any stretch of imagination. And still the 15-year-old boy is saying that you seem to be a wrestler, some kind of a wrestler yourself. You know that he is clearly resorting to flattery here. Anyway, let's continue. So do you, he replied. That's interesting, is it not? Guys, so Anil fully understands that he is not he is anything but a wrestler. And so he says to the boy that, yeah, so do you. You also look a wrestler. Clearly now he would feel a little embarrassed because I think Anil has got the intention behind his praise. Which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. So clearly the boy wasn't like a wrestler at all. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. What is your name? Hari Singh. I lied. Now here again, see, that's what I exactly told you. The boy, Anil asked the boy, what is your name? The boy said Hari Singh, and clearly he is lying. Hari Singh isn't his name. Okay, he is no Hari Singh. But every time he has to, get a new identity for himself. Nice. I told you he probably does that. So at the moment he is Hari Singh. I took a new name every month that kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. Guys, important to understand this line. It kept him ahead of the police means he always resorted to this technique in order to avoid getting arrested by the police. And why the former employers? Because that is his, as I said, that is the way he operates. He first wins the confidence of his employer, and when the employer fully trusts him, he believes in him, that is the time when he actually plunders, or rather he steals things. Sad he has to do that. That's why he stays ahead of the police, and he also remains unknown to his former employers by changing name every month, he says. Let's look at some entries for study here. Modestly is in a humble way. So the boy said in a humble way, yeah, I do wrestle a bit. Of course, he didn't mean that at all. I don't think so. Is there a grammar entry? No, no entry at all. Guys, just two entries for the meanings, for vocabulary. I don't think you should get a minute for this. Nothing much to do. Enjoy the story. Please allow me to go to the next slide. Okay, the story is interesting. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers. Here you see the compound word again, the hyphen word, okay? Well-oiled wrestlers who were grunting. What is the meaning of grunting, guys? Making low guttural sounds. Making low guttural sounds. And by guttural sounds, I mean a very deep hoarse sound. You know, when you take efforts. By guttural, I don't mean the gutter. By guttural, I mean very deep voice. Whenever you take efforts, imagine you're pulling or lifting a heavy object. That's the kind of sound that you produce. That is the sound we are talking about. That is why I asked you, have you seen a wrestling match or a clash between two wrestlers? Because if you had, you would have seen this. Even while playing tennis, you might have seen, if you have watched Wimbledon, the French Open, you'd see that after a few games or maybe after a set or two, the players do make those sounds. They have to take extra effort to for the volley or to continue the rally. So that's the word grunting. Okay. What's next? Lifting and throwing each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. So Anil didn't say anything, but he started walking away, and the 15-year-old boy started following him as well. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I gave him my most attractive looking, attention seeking smile. Again, something that you do. Imagine this. You've done something wrong. Okay? And then your dad is looking at you. He's really mad at you. And you've broken something. Imagine you broke some crockery, and now you try to win their heart with the most appealing smile on your face, the innocent face you make, or maybe give them a smile like it just happened by accident. I'm your sweet boy or I'm your sweet girl, ain't I? You try to win sympathy. So similarly, this 15-year-old boy is also trying to win Anil's confidence and sympathy. Okay, this is interesting. You understood, right? Sure. Have you done so? Have you done that? You know. So most appealing smile. I want to work for you. So the boy is telling Anil that I want to work for you. Now Anil says, but I can't pay you. So I'm not that rich to hire somebody. I can't pay you, he says. I thought that over for a minute. Perhaps I had misjudged my man. So now the 15-year-old boy thinks that maybe I have miscalculated. Well, I thought this guy had some money, was an easy victim for me. But it doesn't look like, maybe I misjudged him. He says he has no money to pay me any salary. Maybe wrong calculation on my part. Interesting, is it not? So let's find out if there is anything worth studying as far as grammar is concerned. No, nothing at all. Again, you would have only two entries to make and the compound word well oiled. So I should probably go ahead. Allow me to go to the next slide. Nothing here at all. Let me continue. I asked, can you feed me? So the boy asked Anil, can you feed me? Now this can be taken as a direct, indirect question. And probably this is the first time now that I will take you to the notepad. So let's go to the notepad, guys. And of course, as you can see on the agenda, common errors in English usage. But we will keep that aside for the moment. We will deal with this fine example that we have. And what is this example? I asked, can you feed me? I asked, can you feed me? And the point is they'll ask you to change it to the indirect speech. Okay? They'll ask you to change it to the indirect speech. Okay? I asked if he can will change to could feed me. Me will remain the same, is it not? Because it's I asking the question. However, the question mark will now change to a full stop. It's very important, guys. Very, very important. So, I asked if he could feed me. And I don't want to give you a separate countdown for that. It's just a simple sentence. Kindly pause the video now if you want to write down. And now allow me to get back to the PPT so that we can continue. Okay. Can you cook? I can cook. I lied again. Why is the writer so very famous and so very renowned? You know that the boy lied the first time with his name. The boy said, my name is Hari Singh. That was his first lie. Notice how the writer has to be consistent. And that's why you have these famous writers who create such interesting stories. That was his first lie. My name is Hari Singh. His name is not Hari Singh. He lied about it. And now here he is saying that I can cook. This is his second lie. And so the writer says, I lied again. That's the writer's consistency. That's why you have to appreciate the writers. Beautifully written. That keeps you involved in the story. So this is his second lie, guys. I can cook, he says. Okay. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. Anil has also given a very nice reply here. He says, boy, if you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. So maybe you can be my cook or something. He took me to his room over the Jamuna sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. Now, stray dog is the dog who is homeless, stays on the street. Stray dog. So he gave the food to the stray dog, and that made the 15-year-old boy, the thief, okay? The boy is thinking maybe the food was of that bad quality. He gave it to a street dog. But I just hung around smiling in my most appealing way and he couldn't help laughing. Now, Anil is clearly a good man here. Try to understand the situation. Anil is definitely laughing here. He cannot control his laughter because he has probably understood the motive behind the flattery. I don't think Anil has actually understood that the boy wants to steal money or rob him. But he is sure that the child wants some protection. The child wants some shade, some shelter, some home, somebody, maybe some food. That's why the child is resorting to flattery. So he could not control the laughter at the innocence of the boy. For the moment, he thinks so. So Anil is a good man. I don't think he will turn him away. He gave the food to the stray dogs, but he didn't scold the boy. I repeat, Anil gave the food to the stray dog. I mean, that could not eat it, but he didn't say a word to the boy. He understood that the boy tried his best, but obviously he could not cook. He has no culinary skills. Anil understood that, but at least he realized that the boy tried, and maybe he is just wanting a shelter and food. So he did. He said what he said. So Anil is a good man here. Do you appreciate Anil? Be like Anil. Is there any entry here? Yes. Now, can suggests modal auxiliary of ability. I can cook. That shows ability. I can speak or I can cook. Something like that. Another modal auxiliary is may, which is the modal auxiliary of possibility. That maybe I can feed you. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. There you go. So that's the one. I think there are two entries here. And there is no need for me to give you an extra minute for that. So far, I have had no need to give you any extra time because there have not been more than a couple of entries every time. Please allow me to go to the next slide. If you want, you can pause the video, make the entries, and when you are ready, then resume. Okay, let's continue, guys. The story is getting interesting. Later, he patted me on the head and said, "Never mind. He would teach me to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers." Guys, I cannot help but admire Anil here. It's incredible for a number of reasons. Number one, he understood that the boy is without any help, without any support. Number one. Number two, he agreed that you said earlier that you can cook. Clearly, you have no such skills in the kitchen. I will teach you how to cook. Don't worry. So that's the first thing. Another thing is he has actually assured that he will teach him how to read and write. And that is so important. That is so important. I remember a very famous proverb. Never give hungry man a fish, teach him how to catch it. Again, never give a hungry man a fish, teach him how to catch it. And what is the deep meaning here? Now, the vegetarians don't make those faces back there. You vegetarians, yeah. The point is, understand the meaning here. The fish represents food. So never just help someone and leave them because the next time they need help, they'll again come begging to you. But if you help them to find their own way of income, or maybe a way to support themselves, it is then that you have solved their problem forever. So never give hungry man a fish, teach him how to catch it. Then you have solved the problem. So Anil understands the fundamental issue here is not that the child is poor. A fundamental issue isn't that the child is without any support or food. The thing here is that because of lack of education, even if the boy decides to be good, even if the boy decides to, lead a righteous life, what word did I use? Righteous, morally, ethically perfect. Can he do that? No, because he has no education, and that is why he has no other choice but to live the way he is leading his life right now. That is why you have to appreciate Anil. So in your life, the biggest gift you can give anybody is education. Give them knowledge, teach them skills so that they can support themselves, they can be resourceful themselves, and probably in turn in the future, they can help someone else. That is why we learn such chapters. Beautiful. Anil's example is super. Don't just give money and that's not over. Yes, it is one way of helping. It is one way of helping. But see to it that your help contributes in a way of developing a life skill so that they acquire enough skill to support themselves. That is why Anil's character is good here. Now, why did I explain so much here? The reason is, if this passage is asked in the exam, the SSC board, surely there can be a question about Anil's character or about Anil's role. And that is why this explanation will help you build up your answer. I didn't give you the exact answer, but yes, that's why Anil is so important and what he did is so important. That's why I expatiated. I hope you loved it. Continue with it, guys. So that's Anil for you. I was grateful. What do you mean by grateful, guys? Thankful. So clearly you can see that the boy wasn't wicked inside. He understood that he is going to get something from Anil. So he's thankful here. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. So clearly even the boy is aware that once he gets formal education, then maybe he can do something for himself. The boy also knows that. That goes to show that he is not a criminal-minded guy. He knows that if I get education, I will 100% do something for myself. Incredible. Let's get to the lesson here. Are there any other entries here? Are there any other entries? Let's find out. No, not in this paragraph, but I think it's better I complete this and then we'll check. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. Let me bring myself into the scene. I'm not there. Now you see me in the bottom left corner. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies, usually making a profit of about ₹1 a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. Guys, this is incredibly nice here. Is there any meaning here? No, a grammar entry straight away. But before we actually study this, let me come on cam. He used to, the boy, the 15-year-old boy, used to manage the daily supplies. Okay, he used to buy groceries, the daily routine. And while doing so, he used to manage ₹1 for himself each day. And I remember that in my childhood, I had the same way of filling my piggy bank. Whenever I used to go to the market and buy things, I'll give you an example. Let's say the cost of the product was 12 rupees and my parents had given me 15 rupees. Then I would probably keep the 3 rupees for myself, the change that is. But of course, I used to tell my parents about it. But that was my way. Again, most appealing smile, flattery, and then those 3 rupees used to go in my piggy bank. So I'm sure. Let me know if you also do that. And here the boy used to do that, and Anil knew about it. Anil knew about it, but he did not seem to mind. He said that the boy is probably just doing it he's just a kiddo. Let him have a rupee. Maybe he'll buy something for himself. So he did not mind that. He was aware about it, but he did not mind it. Again, brilliant character Anil here. The grammar entry, guys. Make affirmative. Look at the line. There would be no limit to what I could achieve. So no limit makes it negative. Make affirmative. What could I achieve to what I could achieve would be limitless. So the line is there would be no limit to what I could achieve. What I could achieve would be limitless. And that way you made it affirmative. You removed this word no here without changing the meaning. And a little. Now this is interesting. A little. The difference between little and a little. I think I somehow get the impression that we might have just discussed this previously. I'm not so sure. So let me do it very quickly. If I have discussed this before and if you have watched it, well then you can just forward about a couple of minutes, the video that is. Otherwise listen to it very carefully. So I will take you to the notepad. And what is the thing now to be studied? The difference between little and a little. Guys, what is the difference? The difference is little is negative and a little shows positivity. Okay, it's positive. Why do I say that? Look at the examples. Okay, I'm going to give you examples. Let me come on cam first of all, and then probably it's better for me to write it. So the example. Let's say that we are in a very hot, dry desert region somewhere. And I have water in a bottle with me. And then it's a long journey. So I will need that water. So if someone comes to me and says, well, can I have water? Well, of course, the good nature in me is that I will say yes. Imagine later someone else comes and again asks for water. Now this time I have to think about myself as well, because what would I do? That's the only source of water at the moment. Then I would say, please no, because there is little water in the bottle. Because there is little water in the bottle. Little. Imagine one of my students or you, my dear loved ones, one of you is there, and then you ask me, can I have some water please? Then out of positivity, I might say, sure, there is a little water left. Sure, there is a little left. A little. I hope you've understood the point. Little and a little. Similarly, few and a few. There are few people like him. There are few people like him. There are a few people. There are a few good people. See the difference? So adding that is interesting, is it not? Guys, I always say, when I give you such examples, kindly let me know if you like the examples or these discussions that we do. It's very important. So little and a little, few and a few. That is the difference. So no need to go back to the notepad. What I've done is enough. I think you've grasped my examples. Is there anything else in this slide? Nothing. That's it. So guys, I am going to give you a minute, because you have to make three entries here. Your time starts now. I'll be there with you at the end of this minute. Okay, time starts. Under 10 seconds now. Okay, your time is up. Well, the entry concerning the little and a little note was positive and negative. Remember, little is negative, a little is positive. Kindly allow me now to go to the next one. Let's continue with the story. Anil, again, stop doing your work, guys. Pay undivided attention here. Anil made money by fits and starts. What do you mean by that? In short, irregular intervals. Guys, I think I told you about this at the introduction. So he made money, definitely, but that was not a regular source of income. He would borrow 1 week and lend the next. He kept worrying about his next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazines, a queer way of a queer way to make a living. One evening, he came home with a small bundle of notes saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night, I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. Guys, there are important things to study here. Queer is a very strange or odd way. So, queer way of making a living here. So, queer meaning strange and odd. There is antithesis here. Borrow 1 week, lend the next. So the opposite words are borrow and lend. That makes it the antithesis, the figures of speech, antithesis. Observe the spelling of check here, Cheque, shows that he is an Anglo-Indian writer. Remember, with the British descent. That is why the spelling is Cheque, check, and not Check. The Americans do it that way. Talking of International Chess Day today, I greeted you at the start of the video. In America, the check in chess is also Check. You check the answers, that is also Check, and the check that you write, the instrument, the banking instrument, is also spelled Check. But here in India, it's Cheque, and appreciate the writer for following the Indian technique. Okay, even in UK they do it that way. So Cheque. Next will be a no sooner than entry. As soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. Arrived is the past tense, so the answer will be no sooner did. And because you use did, you will remove this ed, guys. No sooner did it arrive than he would go out and celebrate. Magazines, the spelling is important. It's M-A-G-A, not M-A-G-Z-I-N-E. M-A-G-A-Z-I-N-E, magazines. And one more thing, should I point it right now? Yes, it's there. He had just sold a book to a publisher. Identify the tense. Had sold. That makes it the past perfect tense. Brilliant, guys. So he was a writer. He used to write for magazines and get money that way. That's it. There are these entries, but you deserve a minute for this again. Take your time. Your time starts now. I will be with you at the end of this minute, guys. 5 seconds more. And your time is up. And I'm sure that you were able to do all that was required. Allow me to go to the next one. I had been working for Anil for almost a month, and apart from cheating on the shopping, I had not done anything in my line of work. So remember, he says in my line of work. So far the kiddo has just probably managed 1 rupee each day by way of shopping. You remember, he used to keep that money, the change money, and nothing in his line of work. So he always used to win the faith of his employer and then rob them and go away. So far, he has done nothing like that. I think the boy also understands that he has a chance to gain a lot here. Not just money, but Anil is the one to teach him how to read and write. And I am sure that the boy understands this, guys. Something nice. So he's looking for something beyond money here. Appreciate. Let's see. I had every opportunity for doing so. So not that the boy did not get a chance. He definitely has had a chance, but he has not done anything like what he has been doing all his life here, at least in Anil's case. Anil had given me a key to the door. Look at the confidence. And I could come and go as I pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met. Remember, guys, he used to win faith of all his employers. The lesson has told us that. But he says that Anil was the most trusting person I had met up until that time. He had a key. Anil used to trust him with money. And Anil doesn't have a locker. Remember when he got the money, what he did? We saw that in the previous slide. He slid that, or he tucked it under the mattress. That's his safety. That's his security. That's his locker. So the boy is saying that I have never come across such a trusting person, and it was difficult to rob such a man. It is someone so believes in you and is trying to change your life, then you don't want to do that. And this shows the innocence of the boy as well. Circumstances made him a criminal, okay, and not exactly a criminal. He's just a boy of 15. Continue. And that is why it was so difficult to rob him. It's easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed, but it's difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he has been robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of work. I think he's sarcastic here. The boy is saying that what's the point looting a guy like Anil? He will not even notice that he has been robbed, and it will kill all my fun, my talent. I don't think he means it. He clearly understands that he is gaining more than money here, more than just shelter here. And that is why he has not been yet able to rob Anil, although he has had plenty of such opportunities. That is worth noting, guys. He has had a lot of opportunities, but he has not done that. The lesson is getting really interesting. So will he do it? What will happen to Anil? Will he learn to read and write? By the way, when it's the right time to tell you that we are not going to finish the entire lesson today. We are going to divide it into two parts. So we will probably cover, let's say, half of it today, and we will bring the lesson to a climax in our next lecture. We are not stopping immediately though. There are a few more slides to go for sure. Let's continue. The entry here is I had been working. I had been plus ing. Identify the tense. Past, perfect, continuous tense. Guys, it's not just past tense. Never write just the past, present or future. Write the subtype as well. He was the most trusting person. That makes it the superlative degree. So the question could be that they'll ask you to change the degrees. So positive degree will be no other person I had ever met was as trusting as he. And the comparative will be he was more trusting than any other person I had ever met. Please write this down when I give you the time and practice this very meticulously. There's another entry, come and go. Again, antithesis. Guys, remember in previous slides as well, we had seen an example of antithesis. Here you have the words come and go. That makes it antithesis. That's it, guys. I'm going to give you a minute for this. There are things to write, especially the degree example. Copy it very carefully. I'll be with you at the end of this minute. Under 10 seconds now. And your time is up. I'm sure that you were able to do everything that was necessary. Let's continue. Well, it's time I did some real work, I told myself. I'm out of practice. I am out of practice. Such a nice entry, guys. Why is this a nice entry? This word practice, guys. The discussion, I believe, has been done once. I believe only once we did that. There are words where CE is the noun form and SE is the verb form. So practice with a CE is the noun form and practice with SE is the verb form. Similar words are advice with a CE noun form and advice with SE the verb form. Another one is license, LICENCE, license the noun form, and you license someone is with the SE at the end. Okay, please remember this. Very interesting. Practice the noun form. If they ask you the verb form, write SE. That's why I thought I'll just discuss this with you. And if I don't take the money, he will only waste it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me. Now the boy is thinking, making some excuses about how he can, convince himself to rob. So the boy is making excuses. The boy is saying, hey, Anil doesn't pay me. So he doesn't pay me. What's the point? And anyway, if I don't take the money from him, he is going to give the money to his friends, or maybe, the lesson says every time he gets money, he goes out and celebrates. So he's going to waste the money anyway. So let me go ahead and do my work. After all, I'm running out of practice. He is saying that. He is just making an excuse, trying to convince himself that maybe he needs to do something here. Will he do it, guys? Will he do it? Okay. Anil was asleep. A beam of moonlight stepped over the balcony and fell on the bed. I sat up on the floor, considering the situation. If I took the money, I could catch the 10:30 express to Lucknow. Slipping out of the blanket, I crept up to the bed. Anil was sleeping peacefully. His face was clear and unlined. Guys, unlined means showing no sign of fear or worry, without any wrinkles. When you are completely satisfied, when you are completely content at heart, there are no wrinkles. Like if you are tensed in you form lines, is it not? Or raise your eyebrows. There is stress on the face. Anil had no worries. Anil lives his life with peace and satisfaction at heart. So he's saying that his face was unlined, and that is how it should be, guys. That is how it should be. Okay, let's continue. What is it? Scars. We have not yet reached that. Let me finish it. Even I had more marks on my face, though mine were mostly scars. What do you mean by scars? A mark of injury or wound. So scar is a mark of injury or wound. Now clearly you've seen a lot of my videos and you've clearly seen this. Yeah. So that goes to show that I was a very calm boy as a child. I was. The thing is, I remember clearly that the sweeper had actually swept the stairs, and it was the black stone, the kadappa, what you say. And I was very careless over the stairs, and I actually got hurt. And in fact, it needed stitches. So the doctor who actually did this at that, I was in like second or third standard, kiddo. And the doctor was very appreciative about how I was keeping, my patients there. So that's a scar. Anyway, not an injury. It's just a wound. I fell. But anyway, thought I'll share it. Is there any other entry here? Yeah, sure. This 10:30 should be better read as 10:30. Guys, always if you're reading English, spice things up. Instead of just reading it as, surely you don't want to read it as 10.30. It's not decimal system. But instead of saying 10:30, it is so much better to say 10:30. Subtle, but very nice. I hope you understood what I want you to understand. Don't say 6:45. 6:45 is quarter to 7. 7:15 is quarter past 7. So make good use of it and then spice your English. So instead of this 10:30, you can say 10:30. There was a train, the Lucknow Express. And that's another thing that I don't like. Look at the spelling of Lucknow. 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 I don't know why we still do that. It's the anglicized spelling. In fact, you should know that the best spelling is Lakhnau. That should actually be the spelling of Lucknow. It's the k sound. Lucknow. It's not Lucknow. Lucknow. You should actually Wikipedia this. You will clearly understand that the name is Lucknow. It gets its name from the Ramayana era because it's named after Lakshman. Story has it. You can Wikipedia this. Actually, go ahead and do that. I don't like the spellings kept anglicized. That's why I told you a few lectures ago. Banerjee is not exactly Banerjee, it's Bandopadhyay. Mukherjee is Mukhopadhyay. The G is so anglicized. Lucknow is a brilliant example of that. Lucknow, it's Lucknow. I repeat, the spelling according to me should be Lakhnau. That's Lucknow. Anyway, Lakshman Puri, traditionally I think something like that was the name. But still not Lucknow, surely better than that. Okay, now is there anything else here? Yes, there is a grammar entry. If I don't take the money, he will only waste it on his friends. Rewrite using unless. That's it's unless, not useless, okay? Unless. Rewrite using unless. He will only waste the money on his friends unless I take it. So write it down and study it properly. If I don't take the money, he will waste it on his friends, which means that he will only waste the money on his friends unless I take it. So you change the negative to the positive here using unless. That's how you're going to use unless. That's it, guys. Do I give you a minute for this? 100%. I'll give you a minute for this. Make entry of all the things that you find here. I'll see you at the other side of this minute. Under 10 seconds now. And your time is up. Okay, I hope that you were able to do everything that was required. Guys, I think it is right time for us to stop the story here. We will stop it here. We'll continue with this the next time. But at the moment, I think we will get to that audio clipping that I was talking about, and then eventually come to a common error in English usage. Some common errors, which I think we'll cover one in each lecture or something like that. Let me first take you to that story that I was talking about of the recording sent to me by one of my students. I have received 4 to 5 entries so far, so 3 more than what I had last week or maybe a few days ago. And I have shortlisted this. My student of 10th standard has shared this. The rate of speech is very good. We won't listen to the complete story. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes. Listen to it and enjoy. Okay.
Vikram and Vetal. Who is her real husband? King Vikramaditya approached the people tree for yet another time. He saw Vetal hanging upside down. He pulled down the corpse and started carrying him on his shoulders. While walking, Vetal said, "Let me tell you a very interesting story to pass the time along this otherwise boring journey." And Vetal began. In the city of Ujjaini, there lived a merchant who had a son by the name Gandharvasen. He was his only son. Gandharvasen was a very handsome and intelligent young man. His way of living and behavior made him look like a prince. It was his daily routine that he would take a round of the city on his horse. Many beautiful women of the city longed for him, but Gandharvasen did not find any of them suitable for him. One day, while Gandharvasen was on his round, he came to a river bank where a number of washermen were washing clothes. She too was washing clothes. Gandharvasen became highly enamored of her beauty. She looked like a princess despite her being poor. Gandharvasen took a deep breath and sat on the stairs of a nearby temple of goddess.
Okay. I told you we won't be listening to this entire thing, but just a part of it. Guys, what were the interesting points here? Number one, her rate of speech was very nice. I'm saying her rate of speech was very acceptable, between that range of what is comprehensible. Secondly, the accent was perfectly a neutral Indian accent, which is fantastic. Never try to unnecessarily build an accent. If you have had a long stay or if you have worked in that environment, then you will pick up the accent anyway, but otherwise you should stick to a neutral Indian tongue and be proud about it. The other thing is she has absorbed the words very nicely. For example, he was highly enamored of her beauty. I hope you got that. And one more thing, there was a mistake, only one slight error in her reading, which was with the word innocence. Guys, it's not innocence. She said it as innocence. It's innocence. Don't say innocence. It's innocence. But apart from that, the clipping was very interesting. I promised you I'll share at least one, so I did that, and it was really wonderful. So that goes to show the students do take efforts, and I'm appreciative of all the students. I promised you I'll share one clipping, so I did that. And now we are left with the final 3 or 4 minutes. Let's talk about 1 or 2 common errors that you should avoid while using English. So I'm going to take you now to the notepad, and I think we had made a separate space for this, section for this. Here we go. So common errors in English usage. So what's the first one I'm going to talk about? The first one I want to talk about is marriage anniversary and wedding anniversary. Okay. So marriage anniversary or wedding anniversary. So what exactly should it be? Why should it be what it is? We'll talk about that. So marriage, guys, is an institution. You enter the institution of marriage. What happens on that day is wedding. So you are celebrating the wedding anniversary, not marriage anniversary. So if you want to send a message to somebody, it is correct to say happy wedding anniversary and not happy marriage anniversary. Marriage is an institution in itself, it's a way of life. What happened that day was the wedding. So wedding anniversary is right, not the marriage anniversary. Point 1. Sure? Let's look at one more. The other one that I want to talk about is called as. That is the one thing. Never say called as. He is called as. Called as is not right. Only the word called is needed. This is called and whatever it is. Not this is called as. Known as is okay. Called as is not okay. So called. not called as. Okay, called. I hope that you enjoyed this session. We have hit the 1 hour mark. As usual, I will say that I have enjoyed presenting this video to you, this lecture to you. And the fact is, again, don't forget it's International Chess Day. If there is any game sport that has done well in these COVID-19 times, is chess. So popular it has become. Everybody has started playing chess. As a chess coach, I'm happy. I give chess lessons to kids, you know that. Our hub celebrates it every year. This year it was just an online celebration. It will be after this, maybe I'll be with my chess students. And well, as usual, I say this at the end of every lecture. You've noticed this pattern in the recent times. Please take care of yourself. Do not venture outside. Soon things will start getting better. You all hope for that. But stay inside. Take good care of yourself. We will continue with this story the next time. Leave your feedback. Whatever it is that you have to, you can email me so that I can share it like I did right now, the story clipping. And we will meet again on Sunday now, because I'll record a lecture on Saturday. So we'll meet soon. Up until that time, take care.